Many of you have the question, what is meant when we say music is in a certain key? So in this video, Music Theory 101, I'm going to answer it as clearly as I can. I realize many of you, you're not professionally trained musicians. So we'll do this in a very simple way, and I hope it makes sense for you. So first of all, to understand what we mean by key, we're just going to go back to this idea that in music we often pick a chord or tonality, like major or minor, as our center focus, and we pick often a scale. And I did talk about that in what is a scale. We might pick a scale, which is a collection of notes that are taken from all of the notes as possibilities, right? So we have these 12 notes that we can play music with, but often what we're doing is we're just extracting a certain subgroup of those notes. We're not playing all the notes. We're just using, most of them, maybe 9 of them, 7 of them, or 9 of them to play our songs, our music. So when we do that, we can choose different groups of notes, different subsets of, for example, different subsets of the 12. For example, here's all 12, right? But if I wanted to, I could just pick, for example, the white keys. And if I just play the white keys, all of my chords, and it doesn't matter, I could play any chords, but they're all going to be made up of white keys. So there's going to be a key there that's going to point towards probably C major, or as we discussed in the relative key video, maybe A minor. Or Aeolian mode. And that's really what we mean by key. Now, that's the first part. So a key is a identified subset of all the notes, which we call the chromatic scale, all the notes, all 12 notes. But we're not using all 12 notes, we're just using some of them. So I'll give you an example. If we use, let's say we used this set of notes. We used some white keys and we used a couple black keys, F sharp and C sharp. And if you've done the keyboard note names, if you've watched that video, you'll notice that my home note in this case in the major mode is D. It's not C, it's on D. So because I've chosen these notes, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, to play my music, now I would say I'm in the key of D major. Why? Because these particular notes are pointing in the direction of D major as the home chord, and therefore the key. And I hope that makes sense. So when we say key, we're really just talking about the kind of the home base of the music. Where does the music feel like it's moving from and then back towards as it comes to resolution? Where's the beginning and the ending of the music? Usually a piece of music will begin and end in a key, its home key. Now, that's not to say that in some music will modulate away or it will end up in a different key. That does happen, not so much in pop music, certainly a lot in classical music, and in some Broadway tunes, jazz tunes, there'll be modulations. But we're not talking about that. That's another situation. When you just have a song, you play a song on ukulele, guitar, keyboard, whatever it is, usually you're staying within one key. Now you might go to the relative minor. We've talked about that a little bit in there's another video called relative major, relative keys. But the point I'd like you to take away from this video is that a key is what we call a certain collection of notes that make up a scale that we use to play our music. And the key will be identified as the home or the most resolved place, right? The beginning and the ending of that music as it's played and performed. All right. So examples of that, and this is about as technical as we're going to get. You might hear terms like, oh, that key is C major, or that key is A minor. Now I did make a video on major versus minor. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can watch that in the links below. But those are the kinds of terms when you hear, oh, that's in B flat major, or this is in C sharp minor. That's what we're talking about. It's the home, and it's the certain collection of notes that make up the scale, that make up the key that the musician uses to express his or her music. All right, that's all I have for you in this video. I hope that helps. If you have questions or you'd like to connect with me more, you can do that at patreon.com/Kalani. In the meantime, find a keyboard if you can and learn some of these things for yourself, because that's the best way you're going to learn, is just by experimenting and trying things out on your own. And then you'll hear it and you'll understand it better. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in a future video.